Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And today is our TOEIC unit, and we're going to be asking a question, and we're going to try to answer that question. How can we keep our older workers? Interesting concept there. Most people are probably anxious to get rid of their older workers, perhaps. Why don't you get out of here? Why don't you go retire and go play croquet or something? We young people don't want you folks around.
No!
But
Does that happen?
I was going to say, actually, things have changed a bit. People are having more respect for older workers in the office. They've got more experience. They're more mature. They're more focused on their work. They don't need to spend half the day checking their line messages or checking Instagram and stuff like that. They actually can work and actually be productive for the company, not like these millennials these days who have special needs. And we're going to be asking and answering this question in a form of a conversation between Angela and Graham.
You know, it's kind of weird to be talking about workers who are 55. That's not that old. You know, my dad is 81 this year, and he's still practicing law. He goes to court. He tries cases in front of juries and judges, and he keeps telling me that he doesn't want to retire because as soon as you retire, you die. And it's true, a lot of people who do retire, you know, they don't keep their brain active, you know, and they don't get out there and socialize as much. So I, for one, am going to keep working way past 55. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's advisable. My father-in-law was working into his 70s as a doctor.
Sure.
And he was keeping himself busy, keeping himself part of society. And it's probably pretty important to make yourself useful because if you retire, gee, it's kind of hard to feel useful unless, of course, you're taking care of grandkids or something like that. But we'll bring up these questions as our lesson continues. So let's get to it, everybody. Let's listen to the conversation now between Angela and Graham.
Hi, Graham. I was hoping to talk to you about something. I think we should be doing more to retain our older workers, those over 55.
I understand. Older workers can bring our company a number of advantages. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, one of the main things our older workers value is flexibility. If we offer employees over 55 a more flexible schedule, this will make them more likely to stay with the company.
Why is that?
Many older people want to keep working even after they reach retirement age. However, they don't want to work as many hours as before. Some have elderly parents to take care of, while others just want more time for themselves.
That sounds reasonable, so long as they understand their salaries will be reduced accordingly.
That isn't a problem. Money is less of a motivation for older workers than it is for our younger employees.
Is there anything else we can do?
Yes, we need to show that we appreciate our older workers.
You mean by reassuring them we won't try to replace them because of their age?
That's part of it, yes. We want to benefit from their experience, so allowing them to mentor younger workers shows we value their know-how.
Should we create a new policy for elderly workers then?
We can do that, or we can discuss each individual's needs separately. I prefer the latter approach because everyone's situation is different.
Okay, everybody, we're going to be talking about the lesson now. It's a conversation between Angela and Graham, and I guess they're talking about how they can keep their older workers. They want to keep them. They don't want them to quit. They value older workers, and they want to give them some incentive to remain at the company and not quit and retire or get another job.
Right. How do you do that? I know a lot of people here are retiring quite young. You know, I have a couple of people I've taught in the past that are thinking about retiring. One's 54. The other isn't even 50. So I guess it depends on people, and maybe they've saved up a lot of money, which is great. So how do we keep our older workers? As you get older, you get tired. You don't want to work as long. So here they're having a conversation about this, and Angela talks about retaining. If you retain someone, you keep them. A retainer, have you heard of that? My dad's an attorney, a lawyer, and his new clients, when they come in, they have to pay what's called a retainer. So it's kind of like a bit of money, like a deposit that they have to pay so that he'll start working on their cases. So how do we retain? How do we keep those older workers? Well, Graham says he understands older workers can bring a lot of advantages. Think of all the experience they have. Plus, they've probably learned how to handle their temper and work with the boss and things like that. It's kind of hard when you first start working because you've never done it before. Sometimes you have to learn things the hard way.
Indeed, so they do have those advantages. And here Graham asks the question, do you have any suggestions? What are some ideas that you have to keep older workers working for our company? Angela has some suggestions here. She says, well, one of the main things our older workers value is flexibility. If you value something, of course, you find that thing valuable. It's important to you. And they value flexibility. Flexibility is the noun here. That is just when you're able to adapt to different situations. You're very flexible. That's the adjective. Flexibility is the noun. So they value flexibility, at least in their schedule. In other words, you might want to have a flexible schedule. If you're a new mother or something, you want to have time to spend time with your baby or something like that. You want a flexible schedule. You don't want to be working 10 hours a day and also on Saturdays.
Oh, no. Flexibility could also be you come in later, but you stay later as well, or you come in early. So, yeah, flexibility is pretty important. If we're talking about your body, guys, people who practice yoga or gymnastics, they're quite flexible. They can move their limbs, their legs, especially in different directions. They're flexible. Here we're talking about a schedule. So Graham says, why is that? Where are they more likely to stay if they have a flexible schedule? Well, Angela says many older people want to keep working, even after they reach, retirement age. When you retire, you voluntarily quit working. You're not fired. You just say, okay, that's it. I'm done working. I'm not going to work anymore. I'm going to live off my savings or my pension and just enjoy myself. Retirement, of course, is the noun form of the verb to retire. Guys, in Taiwan, sometimes I hear people say, yeah, I'm going to be retire, or he was retired. No, don't use the be verb with it. You're just going to retire. I want to retire. Oh, he retired last year.
Exactly. And of course, I think a lot of people are proud to say, yes, I'm retired, which means I was very successful with my career. I made a lot of money, so I could retire early, which is fine for you. It gives you face. Everybody respects you for that. But how are you going to keep yourself busy after that? You might feel kind of useless in society. So, yeah, I would reconsider retiring. You might want to keep on working. And of course, a lot of older people do want to keep on working, even though they've made enough to retire. But yes, retirement is when you retire. And again, as you said, retire is the verb, to retire. However, they don't want to work as many hours as before. Right? They want to have a flexible schedule. Of course, full-time for a lot of younger people means at least 40 hours a week, sometimes even longer. I've been told here in Taiwan that, yes, your contract says you're only required to work 8 hours a day, but nobody dares go over to the time clock right at 5 o'clock to punch out. The boss will be very unhappy with that. You're kind of required to work overtime anyway, so a lot of people end up working 10 hours a day or something like that. So in this particular case, older people are probably tired of working so many hours. They probably want to work maybe 4 or 5 hours a day because they've got other things to do in their lives. They want a flexible schedule, and they don't want to work as many hours as before.
Well, Graham says that it sounds reasonable. It sounds logical. Makes sense, right? So long as is a phrase we use, or we can also say as long as. They're both correct. As long as, I would probably say as long as more. They understand their salaries. Your salary is that money that you make at your job. If you are a salaried worker, we'll use that phrase to talk about people who are paid a specific amount, not hourly. It's a monthly amount that's probably broken into 2 paychecks. Maybe you're paid monthly. I was paid monthly when I lived in New York. I just got a paycheck every month, but it was a salary. Didn't matter how many hours I worked, and I didn't have to clock in. If you clock in, a lot of times you're working hourly. You're paid by the hour. When we talk about salaried employees, though, at least in America, we're talking about people who aren't paid by the hour. They are paid by the month or the year, depending on the contract.
Right, your salary and, of course, wages would be if you're working at a 7-Eleven or a gas station or something like that. You'd get wages, hourly wages. I don't remember how often I received my paycheck when I was working at the gas station or at the motel or whatever, but it was not a salary. It was just pay, hourly pay. And, of course, their salaries will be reduced accordingly. So accordingly here is kind of tricky. It means basically appropriate to these particular circumstances. So yes, I could say that here are the rules and students are expected to obey them accordingly. According to the rules, you must obey them. So here, they must understand that if they're working less, then they will be paid less. They should have their salaries reduced according to the above circumstances.
Yeah. Now, Angela says that isn't a problem. Money is less of a motivation for older workers. When you talk about someone's motivation, you're talking about why they do something. It's what gives them the power or the will to do something. Why? Why are you doing that? What is motivating you? What's your motivation? So motivate is the verb form and motivation is the noun form. Tom, what motivates you? What's your motivation for working out in the morning?
Well, to be healthy, basically, to be able to maybe lose weight or just to simply feel better going through the day. That's my motivation. I did want to point out that there's a similar word called motive, which kind of means the same thing, but usually we use the word motive if we're talking about a crime. Why did John kill Dave? What was his motive? What was his reason for killing him? We use the word motive for crimes, but motivation is for things in life and stuff like that. So, yes, what is your motivation for working out in the morning? And money is less of a motivation for older workers because they've already saved up their money and it's not such a big deal for them. It's more of a motivation than it is for the younger employees who want to save up to buy their first car and maybe buy an apartment or something like that. Older people already have that stuff. It's not such a big pressure.
Right. So they probably are more settled with life and have, already invested in some things at that point. Okay, so is there anything else we can do is Graham's question. How can we motivate these older workers to stick around, work a little longer? Angela says we need to appreciate them. Everyone wants to be appreciated. You want people to notice the work that you do and to compliment you on it, to make you feel needed. If people don't feel needed, they tend not to want to be in that particular situation. So if you don't appreciate someone, they're either going to stop doing what they had done previously. Maybe there's someone in your family who always makes it a point to say how great that outfit looks on you. But if you never appreciate those compliments might stop coming. So you got to appreciate people for what they do. And it sounds like some of these older workers maybe don't feel appreciated by the boss or their other coworkers.
Yep, and Graham says, you mean by reassuring them we won't try to replace them because of their age? To reassure just means to guarantee to somebody that they're not going to do something or that they are going to do something. It's similar to assure. To assure someone means to make them believe that what you're telling them is the truth. Reassure means you do it again. Okay, so you continue to tell them that, no, we're not going to replace you. We value you. Yes, that's the suggestion here. Angela says, yes, that's part of it, yes, by reassuring them that we won't replace them. We want to benefit from their experience, so allowing them to mentor younger workers shows we value their know-how. So yes, we want to benefit from their experience. We're not just doing this just because we feel sorry for them. You know, we're going to give you this opportunity, old man, we'll let you work here. No, it's not like that. We actually value your experience. We want you to mentor the younger workers. Here, mentor as a verb just means to give them advice because you are in a position of knowledge. You know about this and you can help them out.
Yeah, we'll often use mentor as a noun, guys. You know, oh, that college professor was my mentor. Or you can also pronounce it mentor. They're both correct. So, yeah, they're really great for mentoring people. Tom, you were asking me about that movie with Anne Hathaway and what's the other actor?
Robert De Niro.
Yeah, called The Intern. He goes back to work as an older guy, and it's interesting to watch the situation because, you know, he's used to having a lot of power and authority, and suddenly he's new at this position he's taken. But, you know, so it turns into a comedy, actually. But there's a lot you can learn just from watching that film about older workers and how they need to be treated and how it's best to use some of their knowledge and experience. Know-how is a great word, guys. If you see the hyphen or that little dash in the middle, it just means that's been turned into a noun, your know-how. But if you're going to use it as a verb phrase, I know how to do something, please do not put that dash or hyphen in the middle. Moving on, Graham says, should we create a new policy for elderly workers then? Oh, some new rules, some new regulations?
Angela says we can do that, or we can discuss each individual's needs separately. So we can have some general rules for everybody, or we can talk to them individually. An individual is just a single person. Talk about their specific needs. And she says, I prefer the latter approach because everyone's situation is different. So she thinks that they don't really need a new policy. They should talk to each person individually. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion. Let's hear from our Chinese teacher now, and then we'll come back with some extra dialogues and a discussion question.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Jenny. 今天我们要看的是第6单元。好，这个单元一开始就是一个对话，我们先把对话谈完，再来进行下一步。首先我们看对话里面主要的内容是跟公司里面，如果你有比较年长的员工，应该要怎么做比较好。这边说到了所谓的年长员工，可能意思是指 those over 55。这个 those over 55这个意思就是 those who are over 55， 也就是超过55岁的这些员工。那要怎么留住他们呢？留住人才，这个 retain 要特别的注意，因为 retain 跟 remain 常常搞不清楚，但是 retain 其实它的意思就是 continue to have， 也就是说we want to continue to have our older workers， 这个意思就是表示持续继续拥有他们，留住他们。下面他又说到了，如果说你要留住人才，其实基本上因为年纪大的人，他对公司来说是有一些好处的。那谈到 advantages， 这个好处是可数名词，所以你用的是 a number of 加可数复数名词。注意到了，下面就说 Angela 讲到，那要谈这年长的员工，那他们到底重视什么呢？第一个就是谈到他们希望工作时间有弹性，如果让他有一个弹性的安排他的工作，他们会更愿意留在公司里面。当然他后面又继续解释了，他说到对年长的这些员工来说，他们 已经达到退休年龄，而对时间上来讲，不一定要工作的像以前一样多。所以你说到这里跟以前一样多，这边有一个比较级的用法，应该是说当你有比较的对象的时候，我们有时候用到的句型不是比较级，而是像这里的 as，尤其在句构里面，你说 they don't want to work as many hours as before， 这个时间点的对照就是以前和他们现在，跟以前其实他们比起来，事实上不想要工作那么多的时间，所以看到了 as many hours as， 我们注意到 as， 平常我们讲的时候，中间接的是一个单纯的形容词或是一个单纯的副词，不过这边不一样哦，因为在句构里面，其实它接着的是在 work 后面，它谈的是时间的长短，所以你说的是 many hours。一样的道理，如果你讲说，我的书没有跟你一样那么多 I don't have as many books as you do， 一样的，这个接在后面的是 have books， 所以你不是单纯的一个形容词而已，而是一个名词片语。我们再往下看，下面当然他有继续谈到年轻人要的可能对他们来说钱薪水高低比较重要，可是年长的员工第一个考虑的倒不一定是金钱，所以该怎么做呢？因为他提到说 Money is less of a motivation for older workers than it is for our younger employees。 我们先看到这一句，一样的，它的句构其实有那么一点特别，因为这边用到的是 less， 当然 less 就是表示比较少，可是 less 它基本上如果你后面讲的比较少是一个冠词，是一个指示代名词，是一个代名词或所有格的话，你会发现它后面会加一个 of， 就像这里 Money is less of a motivation， 它比较不是一个年长员工心里的动机。那我们注意到 less 再加 of 再加后面的冠词部分，这些例子在英文里面其实我们常见，但是我们要留意到不同。比如说再讲一个例子， We see less of them after they moved away， 他们搬走之后我们就比较少看到他们了。你看到 less of them， 好，这个用法特别留意。再来呢，最后他当然又说到了，那对年长的员工，我们应该看重的是他们的经验，因为他们可以指导年轻的员工。那要怎么做呢？好，提到了可能有不同的做法，不过 Angela 说他的认为是可以个别跟他们讨论每一个年长员工他要什么，所以他说到 We can discuss each individual's needs separately， 不过后面说到了I prefer the latter approach。 为什么用 latter？ 你知道这个意思就是指后者，他谈的后者也就是刚刚说到的，跟每一个年长的员工讨论他们个别的需求，这跟前者 former 是可以做对照的。 The former, the latter。 好， latter 指的是后者。我们今天的讲解就到这边结束，我们下次见。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back, guys. We are going to move on to the extra dialogues as we always do in our TOEIC unit. I'm going to be A, Tom.
Okay.
Should we bother training older workers?
Yes, everyone should have a chance to learn new skills no matter how old they are.
Heck yeah, is what I say. I think you should always keep learning. In fact, that keeps you young. So, it's worth training older workers. They're probably a little bit more careful than younger folks. But that's also based a lot of it on personality. So that's not always true. But yeah, I think it's worthwhile. It's worth your time to train older workers, especially if you're talking about workers in their 50s, which is really young in the States. People are working at least till they're 70 these days. Now, I'm going to be B this time. You go with A, Tom.
Okay. Should we expand our policy to workers of all ages?
I think so. That way, we'll have a better chance of retaining all of our employees.
That's an interesting concept there. They've got a policy for older workers, and they're thinking, maybe this policy for the older workers will work for the younger workers as well. We want to retain them as well. Of course, hiring new people and training them takes a lot of time, a lot of money. It's best to try to keep everybody working together, and the ship can work excellently for the future.
Yeah, it's hard when you've spent a lot of time training workers than to have them leave. So companies are investing more in trying to keep their workers happy so that they don't jump ship, as we like to say when you leave a job for another one. He's jumping ship. So, yeah, I think it's worth it. And also, I don't know if it would be legal to have two different policies for younger workers and older workers. That sounds like a lawsuit. Sounds like somebody would go, that's not fair. I'm taking you to court. I'm going to sue you. So be careful with that. Here's the third dialogue. Is there anything else we can do to keep older workers?
We can schedule phased retirements so that we don't lose groups of older workers at once. So here, phase, if you do something in phases, that means you do it step by step. You don't do everything at once. So they can phase the retirement. Some people retire at this particular time. Some people wait another 6 months, etc. We don't want everybody quitting at the same time.
No, all the experience just leaving, that would be bad. I know I work for a company that's in 101, Taipei 101, and they have these retirement packages every 6 months to a year. And they expect to lose people each time they offer these retirement packages. But yeah, it would be a bad thing for a company to lose all their experience all at once. And that's why you need to constantly be training the younger folks as leaders, because one day those older leaders will indeed retire. So here's our discussion question, guys. I'll ask you, Tom, first. At what age do you think you'll want to stop working? Explain your answer.
Well, I think I'd like to stop working at the age of 90, which means I'm going to retire next year. Because I'm 89 years old
89,
right now. No,
okay.
Of course, I'm kidding. But no, I think I'm going to work until I drop. I don't really have a lot of money saved up, so I pretty much have to work all the way until the day I take my last breath, as long as people let me do that. If people say, sorry, you're too old, you're too slow, you're too senile, we can't let you work here anymore. Gee, I don't know what I'm going to do at that point. But in any case, yes, I'd like to work as long as I can. But yes, flexible hours would be nice. How about you?
Yeah, those flexible hours sound good. Yeah, older folks tend to get up earlier in the morning, especially here in Taiwan, I've noticed. When I go out and exercise really early in the morning, I'm the only kind of young person. They're all very old. I've noticed people here like to exercise at night if they're younger. I want to work until I can't work anymore. I think it keeps you young, keeps your brain working. I mean, if I didn't work at a real company, I would at least probably give lessons, either voice lessons, or maybe if I'm back in America, I would teach Chinese.
Yeah, maybe I could teach English when I'm older or something,
Good,
or help people with their application letters or something like that. Who knows? But in any case, that brings us to the end of our discussion and to the end of our lesson for today. That's all the time we have for today. So thank you for joining us, and please join us again next time for another edition of our program. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.